The overseas portion of Fusion partners with International Mission Board missionaries, and all of Fusion's training comes to a point where it gets put to the test.
You know, we go overseas, and a lot of times volunteers go overseas and they're looking for a good experience. They're looking for lack of a better term, a Christian sightseeing trip. And there's so much more that can be done with 18 to 22-year-olds if you give them the right training and you give them the right set of expectations. I'm a Fusion alumni. I went through the program almost 7 years ago now, and I live in South Asia now as a missionary. We have a few Fusion teams with us this year, and they've been working alongside us in our ministry. I can really attest and say that I don't use other volunteer teams besides Fusion teams. I know that when they come over, they're prepared, they're ready to go, they have tons of initiative, and they're going to get the job done.
Often I tell our students, I want you to get to the country that you're going to, and I want you to, for 4 months, to just run 100 miles an hour in the direction that your missionary tells you. You can go to places that maybe they don't have the facilities or resources that they need, but because you're going for such a short time, you can run at a pace and you can go through certain experiences that long-term folks just won't be able to do. And so it's our hope that because of the training our teams have received, that they're going to be able to partner with these long-term workers and really be an extension of their team.
My team and I, we are here in this mega city in South Asia. So one day we show up to a training. Usually at these trainings we're just teaching believers, but we show up to this training and we find out that half of the women in the training aren't even believers. And so we just begin teaching them about who Jesus is. After we shared, we asked them what they thought about this message. 4 women told us that they really wanted to believe, and so we were all really amazed, and we got to have a long conversation with them about what it looks like to follow Jesus in a place like this. And after talking with them, we asked them if they still wanted to make this decision, and to our amazement, all 4 said yes. And so I think that is just a testament to how the Lord is able to work in ways that we don't expect.
There's a lot of different ways that Fusion has definitely equipped us to be over here. We have a training called Warpath 2, so we're sent all around different parts of the United States, traveling by subway or train or plane or bus. We use a ton of public transportation. It's kind of a big city, so it really equipped us, especially having to learn how to use it in a different language.
About a week ago, I crossed over the border, and the Border Patrol guy starts asking me for a bribe. And if I hadn't been trained by Fusion, I would have never understood that he was trying to get me to bribe him. And so I weaseled my way out of it and didn't have to pay him this money because of all of this experience that I've had in the Fusion training. So it's really, really practical information that prepares you for things like a bribe, or things like being questioned by the government, or even things like taking a metro downtown. Fusion is, yes, the spiritual side of things, but also a very, very practical side of things.
Fusion goes to hard places because we've been entrusted with a great investment of training. So our training is very high caliber. We put a lot of time, energy, and money into our training. So why would we then take that training and go to somewhere where an untrained volunteer could serve? It just doesn't make sense. We go to hard places because we know our students are prepared at a level other people just don't have the time or resources to be trained at.
One thing that's been really cool since we've been here is getting to work with national partners and getting to encourage them and teach them out of scripture. So one national partner and I got to go out and talk about what persecution looks like for a believer. So she has friends who have been arrested here for doing the exact same things that we're doing. And so she and I got to go through talking about the persecution that Christ faced and the persecution that Paul faced. And she was really encouraged and spurred on, really to say this is worth it, to see people hear the gospel. It's worth the risk of being persecuted.
Another reason that we go is because we've realized that there's a connection between hard places and lostness. There's a reason that there are still thousands of unreached people groups. The reason these people are still out there is that for one reason or another, whether the government's blocking you or whether it's just really uncomfortable to get there, hard places are very lost places. People are lost in these places because it's very difficult to go. And so that's why Fusion goes to hard places.
These students aren't getting the job done. They're getting the Great Commission done. They're pioneering new areas, and it's really, really rewarding to see. So I want them to go back humble, and I want them to go back feeling that they're set up for a lifetime of disciple making. Maybe they won't be overseas one day, or maybe they will be. But whatever they did over here, I want them to see that their time was worth it and it was valuable, and that Fusion equipped them to do so.
One way or another, whether they're traveling and researching a people group, or whether they're training local churches to reach their own neighborhoods, one way or another, our students are involved in the Great Commission task of making disciples of all nations. And so because of this, Fusion goes overseas to hard places, and we're going to be involved with our missionaries in seeing churches planted and multiply all over the face of the earth. So others may hear and live.
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 So others may hear and live.